there, fellow beekeepers. Today Mike and I are making a video on how to test for Nosema. So we opened the hives today. It's 55 degrees. We took a good sample of bees. We're going to go over what Nosema is, and then we're going to show you how you test your bees for it. So you don't treat them unnecessarily if they don't have a lot of Nosema, or you do treat them if they have a severe case of it. So up here, what is Nosema? Nosema is a microsporidian fungus that gets into the digestive system of the bee. It keeps the bees from absorbing food that they try to eat, so they cannot produce food for the brood or make royal jelly for the queen. This causes fewer bees to care for brood. Infected bees have a need for more food because they can't digest the food. If they're infected with Nosema, they're also more susceptible to diseases and viruses. It weakens their immune system. They get sick and they die. Eventually, it'll weaken the entire hive as well. Ultimately, infected queens will stop laying eggs and your hive will die out. So to do this test, there's a few things you'll need. You'll need tissue paper, a mortar and pestle. You'll need slides and a slide cover and a microscope at least 400 times strong. And you'll need 15 milliliters of water, because you'll need a milliliter for every bee. So you'll also need 15 bees to sample. A sample of the older bees is the best way to get the results. So I'm going to let Mike take over. He's going to show you what you're supposed to do.
So I went out and collected some bees today after I took a look at the hives. And like you said, you need 15 bees. So I already did some of the bees. I cut the abdomens off. That's all you need. So all you have to do is, once you have your bees, you just need to cut just the abdomen off. Because that's all you need for the test. Any anosema that the bees are going to have is going to be down in their gut, which is in their abdomen. So once you have your 15 abdomens, all you need to do is put them in your mortar and pestle and crush them up. It's easier to crush them up before you put the water in because they tend to float, and that just makes it harder to do the crushing. So now there are two different types of Nosema. One is Nosema apis and the other is Nosema serrana. Nosema apis has been in the U.S. For probably as long as the honeybees have been in the U.S. Recently, as late as 2008, we started to see Nosema serrana, which migrated over from the Asian honeybee, probably with the mites. Now, Nosema serrana is probably a lot more deadly than Nosema apis. This test will not tell you whether you have Nosema apis or Nosema serrana, but it does tell you if you have Nosema. So, once you have the bees in there, you just need your water dipper and you put in 15 milliliters of water. So you need 15 bee bodies and 15 milliliters of water. It needs to be distilled water or purified water, not water out of your sink. So we'll mix this up a little bit. All right. Now this is where you need your tissue paper. It's actually really simple. All you have to do is set it on there and push it down in there. The water will flow through the tissue paper and leave you a small puddle in there. So then, all that you need to do is take your slide, take your pipette, just get a drop of that fluid. Then You just need 1 or 2 drops of that fluid on your slide. Okay? Then you take one of your slide covers, drop it on there. Okay? Now, this microscope we had purchased, it's really not that expensive. The ones that some people recommend are upwards of $1,000, but realistically, I think we purchased this one for $200, if I remember correctly. So it does take a small investment, but it's not something that'll break your bank. So then all you have to do is get it set so you have 400 power, and this does not have capability to send this information to the computer. So I actually took a picture of it and put it up on the screen here. So now you can actually see Nosema spores. This is a Nosema spore. These small particles that look like clear grains of rice. Okay? All this other stuff is just bee guts. So you can see all the Nosema spores here and over here. So once you have that up, you count your spores. Generally, if you have a gridded pattern like this, you can buy the separate discs and the slip covers that have the lines on them. Okay, and what you do is you count the number of spores inside of each grid. If you average 3 Nosema spores per grid, like this one you have 1, 2, 3, this one you just have 1, and some of these have a few more. If you have more than 3 per square, then you should treat your bees. Now unfortunately, there isn't a really good treatment out there. There is several options. One of them is Fumigil B. You can purchase that from Dadant and several of the other large bee supply companies. And the other one is Nosevets. Now both of these are effective in reducing your Nosema counts, but neither of these will actually eliminate your Nosema spores. There always will be some of them in your bees. The important thing is to have a big strong colony that can and take care of any messes or anything inside the hive. Now when you're looking at your hives in the spring and you see some bee poop on the outside of your hives, that does not necessarily indicate that you have Nosema. That indicates that you have some dysentery. Okay, so if you have dysentery, you can have poop on the outside of the hive, and if you have Nosema, you can have some poop on the outside of the hive. One does not indicate the other. But normally, if it is a very severe infection of Nosema, there will be dysentery all over the inside and the outside of the hive. So just so you're aware, when you're out in the spring looking at your hives, if you see some that have some bee poop on the outside of them, that does not necessarily mean you absolutely have Nosema. You really should get it tested. If you don't feel like trying to do it yourself, you can send your bees off to a lab, and for a small fee they will check to see if you have Nosema. But I hope this answered some of your questions for you. If you do have any more questions, you can leave comments or questions down below, and we'll try to answer them for you. So get out there and enjoy your bees, and have fun. Thanks.